Welcome to another edition of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age era comic book podcast. Joining me, as always, is new Michael, Kevin Jank.
I'm here, and we're going ape for August, even though it's only June. Possibly July by the time you're hearing this.
Another month away, and we'll be knee-deep in apes. That'll be great.
Yeah.
All right. So, tell the kids what we're reading today there, Jank.
Today we're going to be reading DC Comics' Weird War Tales, number 89. That's 1980.
Right. Weird War Tales 89. We did an issue of this. This is Michael's final episode on the show. And It involved like Frankenstein and Dracula and the werewolf, and they were like in the army and they were fighting guys. So that was something.
Which would sound weird, but it seems like that's just their MO here. What fictional thing can we throw in to a war tale? Not really have the war tale go anywhere, but what can we throw in there to make this seem like it's weird?
Yeah, and I think I was going through the Weird War Tales covers to pick up my top 11, and it seemed like at the end of the run, it was a lot of that Monster Squad with Frank. Like that seemed like they just came in as regulars then, I guess.
I think that's going to be an animated show for DC coming up, like as part of James Gunn.
Sure, that'll prove successful.
Yeah.
Oh. All right.
They're doing it on like HBO Max, I think. Maybe it'll be more, adult themed and cool.
Well, why did you pick this issue, Jan? Because there's something very special that attracted you to this issue.
That's right. I promised that we always need, contenders for best monkey at the Flea Awards. So I saw this one and it was like, oh, okay, this will get us a couple contenders. This is the cover mentions a primate platoon. The Nazis have drafted themselves some apes to be in the army.
I'm torn on this. Obviously, I love monkeys and apes.
Yeah.
But they're filthy Nazis. So how am I supposed to know about this? I don't know.
I know. That's why I like doing this to you.
It's tough.
Just pure torture.
All right, before we get into this issue, let's remind everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We're up to 222 subscribers. Picked up another one, Jack. One more.
All right.
Yeah, we're inching our way there.
Just pick up that one pin on the end every week.
So, the goal is 500. And not looking good, but we can get there. Come on, let's rally. Let's get there.
Yeah. We're a little stalled out right now, but we'll get there.
We appreciate it. And, also, Jack, by the time this episode comes out, I might have a new monkey book out in the world, or at least you might be able to pre-order it. So people always ask us, how can we best support the channel? And by everybody, I mean no one. But if you're out there, the best way you can support this channel is buy my monkey book. And it's called Monkey Flip, and it'll be available on Amazon starting July 4th. And at 19books.com, you can go over there and find it. If you like wrestling, if you like talking chimps, this is for you. So
now, is that monkey a Nazi?
No, he is not a Nazi. He is not.
Okay. That's good.
This is a good monkey. He's not a monkey, he's a chimp, and that's a very key distinction. But anyway, so all right, Weird War Tales. This was an anthology book that told war stories with horror, mystery, fantasy, and sci-fi elements. It ran for 124 issues from October 1971 until June 1983. That's a little late.
It's honestly surprising.
I know.
It made it that long.
I know this was 80, but I figured, this will probably be the end of it. But no, 83 it lasted, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
The first 7 issues were reprinted material, and then issue 8 began original stories. And all the issues are hosted by Death.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because he's like a skeleton. Guy. And like every issue, he'd wear like a different military outfit from a different country, like a old war or something. So that's pretty cool. And another little,
you always gotta have like your keeper or somebody like that to introduce the tales.
Yeah, what was those House of Secrets and House of Mystery? Like, weren't they like Cain and Abel or something like that? Yeah.
Yep. And then Elvira took it over, so she had her hosting. Yeah.
And another little interesting trivia bit here about Weird War Tales. Walt Simonson's first published work was in issue 10.
Oh,
about that?
Yeah.
Oh, Walt
Even
Simonson.
before that Rampaging Hulk magazine, huh?
Yep. So there's 3 stories in this book. The main story about the apes is written by George Cashton, and he was a writer born in 1928 in New York City. He died in 2006 at the age of 78. He worked as an editor and writer for DC. He had 416 writing credits, including Action Comics, GI Combat, Sergeant Rock, and he did 40 issues of Weird World Tales. Weird World Tales.
A lot of Army books I'm hearing.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
And the artist is a fellow named Ken Landgraf. He was born in 1950 in New York City. Only 32 penciling credits at DC. This was his only issue of Weird War Tales. And he also did a book called Ghosts. Ever heard of that? Superman Family and World's Finest.
Okay.
So, those are the creators here. I did have more about them, but no one's ever heard of them anyway. So.
Plus, we got a bunch of other stories in here. They all have creators.
Yeah. We got 3 stories. And I'm kind of stalling because I don't know how we're going to talk much about any of them.
Well, we could always talk a lot about the first story, which before even the Apes, we get another comic that is technically an advertisement, but
it's not
stars
really
a very famous man.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, Jank, we get 2 advertisements starring this very famous man.
The juice was all over this issue.
Yes, he was. The juice was loose in Weird War Tales. All right, so let's look at the cover. Why don't you describe this for the people there, Jank?
Yeah, it's a dynamite cover. Just the DC kind of circular logo there in the top left corner. And then we got Weird War Tales, which is done in 3 different types of font. Interesting choice.
Yes, it is
weird. Kind of weird, all full of little squiggles and stuff. Then there's just kind of normal blocky letters for the war. And then Tales is kind of very, very tiny and like a little blue box. And then it's got gray letters inside of the box. So
you can barely see the letters. Like it fades into the color. Yeah, they've always had this weird.
Besides the weird.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not so much. But all right. And then, we also get a big yellow circle there. Would you dare defy the Primate Platoon, but then describe the depiction of the Primate Platoon?
Well, whoever did this cover clearly did not care about the backgrounds because it's just a white background.
Yeah.
But we got a whole group of apes wearing blue Nazi uniforms and the old, kind of weird helmets they had. Kind of look like the Goombas or, something out of Mario, like those little helmet guys. And they got the little swastikas on there. One of them's shooting a gun out at the, I don't know where he's shooting it actually. I was going to say he's shooting it at the audience, but he's kind of shooting it off kilter, so I don't know what he's doing. One of them has a club who kind of looks like a baguette, but I think it's a club.
It's a club.
One of them's got the big Nazi flag, just brandishing that, waving it around like he's got no cares in the world.
Yeah, that's up at the top of the screen there. But yeah, just a white background on the back. Jim Starlin drew this cover.
Oh.
Of Captain Marvel and Thanos fame and all that. This does make the top 11 Weird War Tales covers just because it's got a bunch of monkeys on it. But,
the 8 faces look really good. I gotta give them that.
They kind of, it's a little tough to read some of the monkeys' faces in the background there.
Yeah. You can't put all that emphasis on the background, guys. You can barely see out of somebody's head.
But it is a great cover. I mean, it's got a bunch of monkeys. I thought, man, how great would this cover be if they're American GI monkeys?
Yep. Maybe if this was modern day, there'd be a variant that would have that, I'm sure, but.
National pride would be off the charts if these brave monkeys are out
You would have gone back in time to sign up for the war, I think.
Yes. So, all right, we open it up and we get to that advertisement you're talking about. Why don't you explain it for us, Jack?
Yeah, so we got the Dingo Kids meeting O.J. Simpson. That's right. Free murder. O.J. Simpson is
allegedly.
Well, there definitely was a murder. That's for sure.
Couple of them. Actually,
yeah. 2.
I wrote a book about it, actually. My second church novel was based on it. So, the Dingo Kids.
Yeah, so he's on the field. He's running. It's O.J. Simpson breaking off tackle. He's at the 40, the 30. He's going all the way. It's a touchdown. And later in the locker room, for some reason these kids are in there. I don't like where this is going already. Why are these kids hanging around a grown men's locker room? That never ends well. So one kid's like, wow, O.J. Simpson, let's get his autograph. Aw, a superstar like him wouldn't notice us. But then here comes O.J. He's like, hey, with those dingo boots, you guys look like superstars. O.J., how'd you know we were wearing dingoes? And it's easy. Nobody puts leather together like dingo. I wear dingoes myself. You wear dingoes, O.J.? And then it's not even a question. I don't know why they put it like that. You wear dingoes, O.J. Exclamation point. Sure, I've got to put something special on my feet after a great game. Hey, O.J., how about an autograph? For the dingo kids, you bet. Then he just writes O.J. Dingo. Like, that's not going to do any good. No one's going to believe that's O.J. His name's not O.J. Dingo.
Dingo. At the bottom, he says, kids, get your free autograph photo of me, O.J. Know that O.J. Dingo, P.O. Box 74.
Man, I wish I would have been alive back then and could have gotten one of these. It's probably worth a pretty penny right now.
Now, a couple
if
of
O.J. doesn't break into your house to steal it from you.
Do you remember when we did that, Jonah Hex? There was an ad for boots at the front of that one. But were they, I don't think they were dingoes, were they? I don't remember the name Dingo.
I don't think so, no. It must have been some other boot.
Yeah, like DC was big into advertising boots. And also, noticing
boots
this...
and gum, apparently.
Bubble gum was always in there, yeah. But notice that we never see the dingo kids actually wearing dingo boots. They're always shot from, like, the shoulders up. You know, like...
True. Yeah, we don't know that they actually make them, and they might not make them for children. For all we know. They're just trying to get you to get them.
They're big boots, man. They go all the way up to your knees. Dingo boots.
Yep. If you look at the bottom, though, I see a little trail of blood on some of those dingo boots.
Boots don't fit. So, all right. Now the splash page, Weird War Tales, we see our buddy Death. And he's dressed in some red military outfit. I don't know. Do you recognize the army outfit this is?
I don't know. It kind of seems like maybe World War I Germany, some kind of commandant, but I don't know.
Sounds right. And he's just saying, hey, I'm going to tell you some weird war stories. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it looks like He-Man died during that war, because look, his axe is down there in the foreground. Yeah.
That's true. This is quite the battle. They have tanks, Gatling guns, and an axe. Missiles. So, yeah, wow. That axe guy.
Now we open up Primate Patrol is the name of this one, and we get kind of like another little splash page here of, we see some American like soldiers who were captured, like prisoners of war, and they're being driven around in the back of a truck, and the Nazis are dropping off here in the middle of the wilderness here, and who are their guards, Jank?
Why, it's a bunch of apes, possibly those same apes from the cover. One of them's just yelling, "Form single line."
I love your voice.
And they're like, gasp, it's a trick, right, guys? Or maybe the Germans slipped us some kind of new cuckoo drug. Naturally, the gorillas are actors wearing costumes.
Nope, they're real gorillas. And the Nazi guys are quick to tell them that there was a Nazi plane that crashed or something. And here, the survivors, though, they discovered these magical apes who are smarter than your average apes.
Something about this area apparently has made them super smart.
Yeah. And they said, we trained them to be our guards and to do our, our monkey work around the Third Reich. Because they're doing all these kind of jobs like security guards and, I don't know, cleaning latrines, peeling potatoes, we have more guys we can commit to the war effort who can actually be soldiers.
Yeah, that seems like a bad plan. Like, you got these super strong apes that can be amazing soldiers, but you're gonna be like, hey, you guys be the nurses. Like,
I would reverse that equation. I would have the gorillas on the front line, intimidating the hell out of the U.S. soldiers.
Yeah, that would
Giant
freak me the
monkeys.
hell out. Plus, they're probably more agile. They could dodge bullets and stuff. Rip people apart if they get close enough. Like, I don't know. Maybe make them do paperwork. That's just my guess.
Seemed like a weird plan. But he starts telling the guys, yeah, we started training them, And I guess these are affable apes. They just went along with whatever they did. Oh, well, he said they like to mimic the humans. So the Nazis just started doing their little Nazi marches and stuff. And then the apes started marching like them. And then they taught them to speak. And there's a great panel of them holding up a banana. He's like, banana? Banana?
And he's trying to get it, but they're being real dicks about it. Like, you would think the Nazis with all their propaganda would have just been like, hey, like, we're awesome. Like, these Americans, they suck. We got to get them. Like, just try to convince them instead of being dicks and like shooting the apes if they don't obey.
Oh yeah, that's down here at the bottom. But look at that middle panel. The Nazis are pointing to all the apes there, and then look on the left. They're drinking nothing but bananas, like a mountain of bananas they have.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so many bananas.
Really? Like, man, a lot of bananas.
How Chiquita Banana made her fortune.
Yeah, with the Nazis, IBM and Chiquita Banana, Coca-Cola as well. Yeah, that's a whole other story. We'll save that for the conspiracy podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, when the monkeys don't go along with it, the Nazis just shoot them and kill them. So
yeah.
All right, now we get a Hubba Bubba ad.
This was quite the ad, yeah.
I remember this one.
Gunfighting, do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
Apparently, you're just supposed to go up to people, blow a big bubble, and they have to pretend they've been shot. That's what I'm getting here.
I remember this ad from my childhood, that dopey kid in his cowboy hat. And then we get another ad from the Juice. The Juice says,
back again.
Show them your heels.
More shoes.
Spot built. The extra step when you're on the spot. I never heard of these shoes, but I guess they're cleats for football.
Yeah, they call them autographs, but I don't know are they actually autographed by anybody?
I don't know.
So then I like the little thing in the corner. It says free spot built poster offer. Boy, I really want a poster of these shoes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, do you see? I guess it's got to be a poster
of everyone in third grade. Yeah, I would hope.
It sounds like it's just about the shoes, though. I mean,
yeah.
They don't. So I don't know, but yeah, OJ, man, he was
that into where I was like, oh yeah, I need this above my bed.
Everywhere. I don't think people appreciate just how famous he was.
Yeah, it kind of gets forgotten now, but yeah, man, he's all over this issue. 1980, he was riding high.
Yes, he was. So, all right, now back to our story. We see the monkeys watching the American prisoners. They're making them work out in the fields, and the Americans say, "Hey, I got a plan. Let's try and trick these monkeys." You know. Next thing you know, Jake, the monkeys are going nuts.
Yeah.
They start attacking their Nazi overlords, and the Nazis open up with machine gun fire on them, but the guerrillas are just beating the hell out of them. And then the U.S. soldiers help them too, and there's a big revolt. And then the guerrillas just tell them, prisoners, go. We take care of dead.
Yeah. Apparently the Nazis trained them on all the burial rites of how to, bury a body, have a funeral.
So the Americans guys, they make it back to their side of the war there, and they're talking to the medic, and he's like, "Hey, how'd you trick those monkeys?" And he's like, "I don't know. We just showed them some pictures of guns." They figured it out.
They're like, well, they learned by imitation, so we showed them pictures of guns and people pulling triggers, and they got it. Like, how did they not get this already? If they learned by imitation, they've seen these guys fire guns multiple times.
Yeah.
They should have already gotten the gist of that. It's not that complicated.
So then in the final panel, we see Death, and he's looking at us, and he's talking about something on it. Those marvelous primates were never found again. Aw, they just drifted away. And Yeah, but I like that little monkey over his shoulder in the background with the banana in his foot. Do you see that?
Yeah.
He's hanging by a vine. That guy's
I
pretty
think
cool.
he's got some little Nazi armband on still though.
What?
Yeah, look at his one arm. Look at it, it's all red.
Oh man, I think it's a rash. I don't think it's a That's terrible. All right, so there it is, Primate Patrol. What'd you think of that there? Or Platoon, I guess. Primate Platoon. What'd you think of that,
Well,
Jack?
I mean, I guess it was the best story in the book. Not saying much. It could have used some work. Honestly, I wish they would have spent the whole issue on this and maybe fleshed it out a little bit more. It kind of seemed obvious where this was going to go. That like if you are dicks to these apes, that eventually they're just going to turn on you.
But I wish they would have turned on them themselves without the soldiers having to trick them into doing it. You know, like
Yeah. Yeah, especially since they really didn't do much other than show them how to pull a trigger, which again, probably should have caught on by now.
Yeah, the story had a lot of potential and it just never really delivered. Just
No.
Not so good.
Full ape action, but not nearly enough of it.
Then next, the APO Weird War Tales letter column. And that's something exciting. Oh, then we get our Batman versus Catman on the Prowl Fruit Pies ad.
Yeah.
Or Hostess ad. Hostess Cupcakes ad, I'm sorry.
So far, only contender for best, this pastry ad, but so far it's in there twice. Even though it wasn't that good. We learned that Catman really likes darkness, apparently. Who knew? Super emo.
Next story is called This Ship Shall Be Your Coffin.
Yeah, it's only 2 pages long, so I guess that's some plus.
Would you like to describe this for the people?
Yeah, so it starts off May 1942, the Battle of the Coral Sea, the beginning of the end of the Japanese Imperial Navy. And so this big, battleship's going down. It's getting sunk. All the men are, stuck there in the ocean. And all of a sudden, here's a ship. They're like, oh, the ship, where did it come from? They're like, who cares? We're saved. They get on board, and there's like a mysterious guy being like, welcome aboard. And he's like, I got duties for all of you. And they're like, what duties? Like, we demand you return us to a Japanese port. And the captain comes in. He's like, you demand nothing. I'm like, what? Who? I am the master of this schooner from which there is no escape. You are needed to replace crewmen who died of age and illness. Consider yourselves lucky, for one day you too will be rescued by death. Not like myself, who must sail, must sail the seas forever and ever and ever. And we see the back of the boat, it's the Flying Dutchman.
Wow.
Guess that would make him Davy Jones.
What a riveting tale that was.
Yeah. This seems like a story they must have done like 40 times in this book.
and there's guys who get rescued and they're demanding to be taken. Hey, you just saved your life, you know?
Yeah.
This
title there
seems like just a waste of time. Like, why was this even in here?
Yep, somebody remembered the Flying Dutchman and like, hey, let's do this. Okay. Do you have a story? Not really.
And
we'll put it in there anyway.
And we get a Bubble Yum ad. Oh, and then we get an ad for the world's greatest fight is in the works. Superman and the Amazing Spider-Man pursue evil side by side. Yeah, I mentioned this to you a couple weeks ago off the air that I might pick this at some points. But there are like 2 different Superman Spider-Man books.
Yeah. It looks like I was looking at it earlier. It was like 92 pages. I was like, oof.
Oh yeah. Wait till Bob's here. Everybody, Bob Myers. We like making it.
Maybe that'll be a 2-parter.
All right, so there's one more story in this book. Death the Dread Drummer. Oh, Robert Kanigher is the writer of this. And the art was done by somebody called Rubeni.
Rubeni, yeah.
Really just one name. Like Cher.
Like Cher. Yep.
All right, this is World War I. I don't know. There's a lot going on here. There's like a little bird.
It starts in World War I.
Yeah. But they got the
little
bird gimmick singing and everything. Who cares? The story stinks.
Yeah, it wasn't great. basically, there's a German guy who's like, he's a lieutenant. He's like, oh, I want to go home and see my son. I'm going to do all this for fighting for him. And then there's an American guy who does the same thing. And he's like, oh, I wish I was at home with my son. And I don't want to really do this, but I guess I got to. And, he's got a radium watch. They definitely needed to point that out. I'm not sure why that was so important, but. And so they all run in and they're just like, all right, everybody meet in no man's land and we're going to battle it out. And, so they all start shooting and throwing grenades at each other. And eventually comes down to those two lieutenants just like, I don't know, like grab each other. They're just like fighting, like fist fighting, even though they have guns, which is a weird choice, but, and so they both kind of, I guess get thrown apart. They each kind of toss each other and then they decide to shoot. And so they both are going down and they kind of both die there in the same spot, being like, oh, war is madness. It's made wild animals out of us. Thank God my son will be spared this horror. And mine. They're like, oh, well, we died, but at least our sons won't have to go to war like we did. But turns out, you cut to World War II now.
Yep.
Both of their sons, turns out, have gone into the family business there and become lieutenants. And they're, on this very same battlefield, getting ready to have the same fight over again, essentially. But Death, the dread drummer, he starts playing his drums and, the zombies from World War I start coming to life. And, they start fighting each other again, kind of picking up where they left off. And both the German and the American armies are just kind of like, man, there's weird zombies out there. Let's go home. I didn't sign up for this.
So the zombies recede into the ground and everyone lives another day. How about that?
Yep.
That's the
They
story.
were saved by Shirley.
And we get to see Death on his drum set again, like Mickey Dolenz. Just banging away.
Yep.
And that's the issue. That's all we got. So.
Yeah, they kind of built it as 3 stories, but I mean, that second one barely counts as a story.
There were more ads, I think, than stories in this book.
Yeah, I think.
Like, how many
almost this book more than there was actual stories.
Like, how many people do you think were buying this in 1980?
No. You gotta be pretty hard up. There was a lot better things you could have been reading.
I cannot imagine people getting excited to run to the newsstand to buy weird war tales.
Yeah, I get the impression that it's much like Archie, where it's like, we're just going to do the same stories every month. Guess what? War isn't great. We're going to throw in a random like fantasy thing into the story that basically says the same thing.
Yeah, this was not enjoyable. I don't know how else to put it.
Cover promised much more than it actually delivered on.
I thought we were going to get a whole issue of monkey action.
Yeah, that would have been smart. Really flesh that out.
I don't know, man. I can't, there were monkeys, but they were Nazis. They get 2 ads about O.J. Simpson to bring it down even more.
Yeah.
The dingo kids weren't even shown wearing their dingo boots. All right, this is a 1 out of 10.
Ad with Julius Erving. Yeah. That was also another comic there at the end.
Yeah, Spalding Street Ball. Yeah. 1 out of 10 for me. I don't know. What do you think, Jim?
Wow.
Yeah.
For a monkey book.
I know, but they're Nazis.
Oh, that's tough. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the ads, so,
that's a bad sign. What was your favorite part of that comic book? The ads. I really like the ads.
Learned a lot about gum fighting. So I guess I'll give it a 2.5.
2.5. All right, there it is.
Lighting the world on fire, but there it was. It was a thing.
Weird war tales. What a sad, disappointing experience that was. All right, well, this will be the quickest Flea Market Fantasy episode ever, but what can we do? There's not much.
Yep.
So,
what you got?
Next week there, Jank. This is a monumental moment in the history of this show.
Here, Tail, you're going to blow my hair back here.
I am picking a Batman comic.
Did Mike Yeah, I'll come back and trick you into this. Like, you can pick anything you
No.
want, but be Batman.
I hate Batman. I've been on the record saying I hate Batman. But lately, when I take my naps, I've been listening to this Batman audio adventure show that was on HBO Max. It's just a podcast, and it's great. And then I've been listening to a bunch of old, like, 70s records that had Batman stories on them, like, from Power, and they're, like, ridiculously awesome. So I've been listening to those. And, cause I kind of like that Batman. You know, I don't like this Dark Knight all broody and, everything's so serious. I kind of like when they're goofy a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I kind of enjoy both. I mean, I like the more serious one, but I still watch like the old, 60s show all the time. That one was a lot of fun, so.
And I
listen room for all Batman in my heart.
Yeah, YouTube's got a bunch of stuff like some what do they call them, motion comics or something. And I listened to one just today. I listened to it for the second time while I took my nap. He fought a guy named the Penny Plunderer. This guy, he was obsessed with pennies. Pennies tormented him his whole life. So he's like, all right, I'm going to become a villain that is all based around pennies. And I will be the Penny Plunderer.
He's not the reason Batman has that giant penny in the Batcave, is he?
I think he is. I assume that he is. I meant to confirm that, but yeah, I think he is actually the reason why.
Wow.
So, I don't know.
I like Batman was like, that's the case I need to commemorate. I fought the Penny Plunderer.
I don't know if it's true, but it seems like the dots connect there. But maybe I'll check in for next week when we'll figure it all out. But all right, so yeah, I'm going to pick a Batman. And we're going to go with the Batman that I actually had when I was a kid. And I gave this book to Mike L, actually, because I sent him a bunch of old comic books as a gift. And this was one of the ones I sent him because it's
anything that had Batman on it.
Anything with Batman and Aquaman, you can have, buddy. And so this is Batman issue 292 from 1977. And on the cover, we see the Riddler. I'm a big Riddler guy, and he's holding he's holding up Batman's cowl and cape, and he says, "I killed the Batman."
I bet he did.
This is like a 4-issue arc where Batman was killed, and spoiler alert, it wasn't really him. But
wow, 4 issues though. That's a long time for back then.
Because they have like a trial. All these villains are trying to take credit for it. So, like one issue, I think Catwoman talks, then, obviously Riddler, and the Joker's there at the end, and there's someone else too. Two-Face is like the prosecuting attorney. He's trying to figure out who's guilty. So that they're on trial. There's another. That's great. We'll figure it out next week who else it is. It might even have been Lex Luthor saying he killed Batman, but that doesn't sound right at all. But,
yeah. I mean, I know they had some issues later on, like when No Man's Land happened, but I wouldn't think they'd have much going on in the 70s.
Yeah. We'll figure it out next week. So, yeah, that's Batman and the Riddler next week. You're on the big show.
Hey, loved it.
And I think we're done. It was a quick one. But what can you do?
Hey, we got a Best Monkey, award nominee out of it, so that's
Can we give an award to a Nazi?
I guess you better find another monkey. Actually, I have another one in mind.
All right, well, that's good. So, all right, thanks to Jank, and thanks to everybody out there for listening. Again, like and subscribe on YouTube. We appreciate the support. And look for Monkey Flip at bookstores near you. All right, until next time, don't get any jank on you.